Yes, hello, I have returned. And yes, I am aware it has been a very, very long chalk since I made content. And yes, I'm working on it. And yes, all the stuff I've advertised on my Twitters or crowdsourced with, audience polls and things, all that is still coming down the pike. But okay, to start off with, even, on the off point where I actually do make videos, this is not the kind of video I would normally make. Normally I take stuff that like exists in various pop culture spaces and examine it through my various lenses, and I find the authenticity all along and so on. But this one's special, and I've had this theory ever since we did get confirmed that Agatha does have connections with Salem in the MCU in the same way she does in the comics, or in a similar way as she does in the comics. Um, and I don't see anyone else talking about it, which is just weird to me, because this show has been theorized to literal hell and back, and all of the adjacent hell dimensions within the Marvel universe and so on. So of all the things that I never like, I expected someone else was gonna pick up on this, and I was gonna be late to the party, so I put off making this one. But yeah, no one else has gone here yet, so I'm gonna do it myself. Um, Also, anyone who wants to know my broader thoughts and opinions on WandaVision, of which there are many and varied, you can find that in my excursions to other people's channels, specifically in the guest appearances and crossovers playlist on the channel. Wah wah wah, plug, so on and so forth. So yeah, without further ado, like I said, this one's special, guys. This one's really. I cannot believe I'm gonna be the one to be allowed to break this possible mindfuck, but here we be. So let's get on with it, as it were. Okay. I'm sure at this point everyone is confused, so I'm just gonna poke your brains here with a simple question, and believe me, you'll be surprised where it leads. What are Agatha's crimes? What are they? What did she do? What did she do? Anybody see where I'm going yet? No? Well, okay. Just keep that question in mind, and I'll present what I consider to be the most likely plausible answer, and move on. Hoo boy, guys. Hoo boy. Uh, okay. I've officially, I think, built this up maybe a little too much, but we're gonna proceed with the line of inquiry. What are Agatha Harkness are? And of course, if we want answers to this question, we have to go back to the flashback stroke origin scene in WandaVision episode 8, which I'm gonna summarize for the sake of, consistency and exposition and whatnot. So Agatha Harkness is on trial in 1693 via her coven, which is, meant to be an interesting tongue-in-cheek spin on a witch trial. Haha. This time it's a trial of, you know, of witches on the grounds of, like, um spiritual orthodoxy, and like the ethical standards of which kind and so on, rather than the um pompous puritanical hanging by the neck until dead because you practice magic thing that we're all more familiar with. But here exactly lies the rub, because as the Dateline here informs us, and I'm sure everyone at this point can see it, this trial by witch, as opposed to witch trial, is conducted in 1693. When everyone who knows anything about the Salem witch trials, the historical witch trials of which we're all familiar occurred in 1692. Specifically, January of 1692 through May of 1693. So, now, again, I pose the question. What exactly is Agatha Harkness being put on trial by her coven for? We hear, some very vague, very mystical things, but beyond that, you know, she stole magic above her age and station, so on. She practiced the darkest magic, and so on. She besmirched the honor of her coven, and so on. But the question still remains: how? What did she do? What happened? What offense did she get put under the witchcraft firing squad for? And now here is the thing. Here is my feather to doff in the cap here. What if, in the MCU's timeline, Agatha Harkness caused the incidents that led to the historical Salem witch trials in 1692? Dun dun. To put this into full context, I think some exposition about the actual no one sees the impact of trials is in order. Okay. In 1690, let me one actually, I believe, if was when the actual if your brain isn't exploding, you're not paying attention. Although I may be slightly off. I will attempt to fill in the gap. Trust me, guys. At one point, your brain should be exploding Salem, now. Massachusetts, but give me a minute, and I will late 1691 for you. The niece of the Reverend Samuel Parris, Abigail Williams, and his daughter Betty became afflicted by a unknown disorder or disease or affliction that caused them to have vivid hallucinations of being tortured by various means, most notably a Night Hag, which is sort of a old school astral or spectral harasser thought to be sent by witches, and they had convulsions, fevers, etc. It was truly horrifying for people who didn't understand anything about psychological afflictions beyond this was one step removed from lock them in the sanitarium and throw shit at them levels of mental health care at this point, basically. But point being, through the accusations of the two young girls, because they were thought to be able to see the people who were harassing them, apparently no one thought that maybe the witch in question, if there was one, would be disguising their astral form by a glamour. But I'm not being quite fair. I'm practicing occultist. I've been a practicing occultist for 15 years. Had they called me in as a expert witness, I would have told them, even if they can see someone harassing them, it's likely not going to be the person actually doing it, because the person will conceal their true identity through glamour. But that's, wasted potential and lack of time travel and so on and so forth. But point being, eventually other girls throughout the village also became afflicted with a similar disease. And in the intervening year or so, 19 people died. Several by hanging, one Giles Corey by crushing because he wouldn't confess, and so they decided to literally press him for an answer. Um, and several others died in prison. Now, mind you, all of these afflictions were primarily what we would modern day what we would probably in modern terms refer to as a seizure. Um, being that as it may, um, I would like to. Well, I should at least give the standard historical explanation. Most modern day experts chalk it up to a mold, or well, a wheat mold known as ergot growing on some diseased crops and being baked into bread, and the bread basically causing people to have LSD style hallucinations. And because they were all very, very, very austere religious fundamentalists, when they started seeing, visions of night hags and their neighbors torturing them, they, chalked it up to witchcraft, and the rest is quite literally history. But mind you, in the Marvel Universe timeline, this sounds a lot to me like the kinds of hallucinations that Wanda gave to Tony and the other Avengers in Age of Ultron, and the kind of things that Agatha also is rather known for being fond of, does it not? Now back to the scene in the episode. Agatha says, "I did not break your rules; they simply bent to my power." So here is the other and the sort of tragic bit of my theory. What if Agatha caused people to have these hallucinations without fully realizing she was doing it? Maybe she had a personal vendetta against the girls in question, and she had herself a little bit of a Carrie moment. Um, or maybe she was just fooling around with some spells and it got massively out of hand. Now, granted, even in the MCU timeline, I don't think any actual witches got caught in the crossfire, because one assumes they have means to protect themselves from things like that, especially because in actual Renaissance and medieval grimoires, there are spells to essentially earn the favor of priests and princes, and essentially keep the fuzz off your back, as it were, which is one of the really historically ironic things about the whole the burning times and the witch hysteria and so on. But that's a different story for a different day. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, well, how, why, what? But here's the thing: we know we know that Agatha loves herself some mind control spells. We further know that the people in question in Salem, Massachusetts, were afflicted by hallucinations of the kind that you could cause via said mind control. And we further know that, much in the same vein as I believe it was HBO's series Salem from a couple years ago, one can easily see how actual witches would be the furthest from the crossfire. However, roll with me here. What if Agatha, through the course of what essentially amounts to a prank, or what essentially amounts to a adolescent fuck up, caused the death of 19 people, and in so doing created a witch hysteria that would have actually put pressure on a legitimate coven, even if they could keep themselves out of the crossfire with protection spells, glamour, uh, occasional actual persuasion magic of the kind of the mind control and so on. But in so doing, Agatha caused 19 innocent, ordinary people to die and caused witch paranoia. Certainly seems like the kind of thing that they would put her on trial for now, doesn't it? And we know mind control is Agatha's favorite, and we further know that she was able to basically do it on demand when she was waking up everyone from Wanda's Gyasus and so forth, which afflicted basically an entire town. So that there's the rub, isn't it? What if Agatha Harkness, in her youthful immaturity, caused the death of 19 people by what essentially amounts to losing control of her powers and accidentally putting a fluence on several of her ordinary neighbors? Now, come, let's say the fall of 1693, when the witch paranoia has died down a bit, do you not think that the Coven, especially given that her mother appears to be some sort of grand witch type figure, would put her accountable to that? And therein lies, everything she said in that scene. I did not break your rules, they simply bent to my power. They, in this case, probably referring partly to the rules themselves, but also partly to the townspeople. And, of course, Agatha going, I can be good, because she didn't do it on purpose. This is the tragic element. What, and there again, I ask the question, what if in the timeline of the Marvel Universe, or the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the Salem Witch Trials was also Agatha All Along? And for this offense, she was put on trial, and then, of course, we see what happened. But a young, inexperienced witch playing with powers beyond her station caused the possible death of 19 people. And for this offense, at least according to my theory, she was put on trial and killed the rest of her coven and proceeded to spend the next 300 years and change taking power from the undeserving and studying the Darkhold, which presumably is the source of most of her coven's powers, considering that book is on a scale of stupid in the Marvel Universe, in terms of its level of power. So, there you have it. That's my theory. Agatha, in a fit of rage or a fit of sadness or a fit of just social anxiety, much like Carrie from the Stephen King book and the movies, obviously, she put affluence on her mortal neighbors, and the resulting paranoia, whether it was intentional to some extent, i.e., fuck you, Betty Paris, fuck you, Abigail Williams, I want nothing to do with you, and I'm gonna make you suffer for it, or if he was just playing around with the mind control spell and things got out of hand, she accidentally caused 19 people to die, and for this event was she put on trial. And we all know what happened. That's that's my 2 cents on this matter anyway. I'm not gonna pull the Matt Pat thing of, oh, this is just a theory or anything, because I think this works well with both the internal logic of the MCU and the external logic outside of the MCU. So there. And again, I don't this is why I don't make a habit of theory videos, because I prefer to extrapolate based on things we actually have rather than needlessly speculate. Now, with anticipation and things, sometimes I will speculate because I like adding things together, but I try not to do theory videos generally. But yeah, this one I think what made me want to make this video was that in my opinion, it was so obvious given the the Dateline and everything else that I've laid out, and given my knowledge of the actual Salem witch trials. So I had to say something. But yeah, that's the end of me for this one, folks. Yeah, it's quite a dark twist. But then again, Agatha's mother did say she had been playing around with the darkest magic. 19 people dead as a result of meddling. Does very much seem like the kind of thing that fits that bill, now doesn't it? So, yep, yep. That's in my head canon, at least. That's the other part of the origin of Agatha Harkness. I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope to see you all next time. Please do subscribe if you're new to the channel. I don't say it often because I hate the subscribe to my channel that everyone puts at the end of their videos and things. But you know, I've been away for a long time, and those who don't ask don't get. So if you haven't subscribed already, please do. If you're new, please check out my other content. There's stuff here you might like, and that's good, and huzzah. And other than that, I'll try to pick up the pace again and work my way into actual content again. I make no promises, because every time I make promises, shit happens. So, yeah, that's my theory. Salem, 1692. It was Agatha all along. And so yeah, I will see y'all next time. Cheers, guys.